Hey guys, this is Sean. This video is going to be about BroomCloset magic. Magic for the witch who is being forced or is choosing to hide, whether it be of her own volition or because of circumstance. If you need to hide your craft, these are some tips on how to do that, some ideas that I had bouncing around that I decided to write down and share with you guys. Without further ado, I'm going to just jump right in. So, the thing about this topic, the thing about any challenge really, is that it's all about how you approach it. You can choose to let it stop you. You can choose to let it stump you, get in your way. You can cut yourself off before you even start if you let it. But if you let yourself, a challenge, especially one like this, from experience, it can let you grow. It can teach you, make you see things you didn't previously see. Look at things from a different angle, force you out of your comfort zone so that you have to adapt. And like any torn muscle, or rather, like any muscle, when you tear it or when you put stress on it, exercise, whatever, when you're forced into this position where you have to strain it, it grows back and it heals even stronger. And so that needs to be the frame of mind you go into this on is, yes, I'm in this position to where, and this is uncomfortable, and this isn't how it's supposed to be, and this doesn't feel right. Because it never feels right not to be yourself and not be open. But if you go into it with a thought process of, this doesn't feel right, but this is where I'm at, and I can grow, and I can learn, and I can be better, and this will teach me, strengthen me, and make me into what I'm supposed to be, then it's a lot more achievable, and it's a lot easier to feel like you're not failing, to not feel like you're failing, to feel like you're learning. And that's really the goal to life. That's the reason we're here, is to learn. It's all a learning process. And so long as you're doing that, then you're not doing anything wrong. So, I guess my first and biggest actual tip is that the best and sometimes the most powerful magics that you can ever perform are the invisible ones. The ones nobody else has to know about, and usually no one else does know about it. It's the magics that happen in your own mind, in your own soul. It's the private incantations that you say under your breath. It's the prayers you say to whatever deity you choose to believe in. And those are things that you can do anywhere. You don't need to be at an altar, even though you might want to be. You don't need to be in front of a candle. You don't need herbs. You don't need crystals. You don't need to meditate, although meditation is good. You don't need to do these things. The best and sometimes most important magics you can perform are the ones you don't need any ingredients for and no one has to know about. However, everybody likes stuff. So, here's how to use stuff in the closet. Alright, so the best thing, what I'm going to start with is an altar. For a lot of us, including me, my altar is my living room, my entire living room. So, I understand how important things and stuffs and all that can be to a craft. It can take you very far. It can expand your horizons and create new opportunities for you. So an altar, or workspace, or whatever you want to call it. Some of the things that are most common in an altar are the representations of the various things, such as the elements, the gods, the goddesses, etc. So, some things you can do for the elements, let's start there, is colored candles. Now, I know what you're thinking. Candles are very much so in witchcraft, but if you go to Walmart or the dollar store, I'll bring this one out that I got at the dollar store. It's sandalwood mahogany, and it's not a pagan candle. Smells amazing. It's not something, if you just had this, on a shelf or, on your desk, nobody's going to think, yep, that's a witch. Burn her. Burn her. No. It's just a regular candle you can get at the store. I got it for $5, and you do use it on my altar, but it's not something that screams spiritual or screams a religious act or a act of witchcraft or anything else. It's just a normal candle, and plenty of people are into candles. Plenty of people use candles. So long as you're careful about, a candle that doesn't scream witchcraft, then you should be fine on candles. Just, go to the dollar store and get the ones that look innocuous. For earth, a rock. Just a regular rock. I would even go so far as to say, go outside, pick up a large rock like this, and then paint it. And make it one of those little inspirational rocks, or even draw eyes on it and call it your pet rock. Because, I don't know, the 80s, whatever. If you just make it a fun little thing that you have, nobody's going to think twice about it. They're not going to be like, whoa, she's totally praying to the Earth Mother there. That's not okay. They're just going to think you're a weirdo for having a pet rock, which is, in some cases, much better than the alternative. You could also use just a stick, any sort of dried plants. I like to use my dried plants as in my shrine to nature and nature spirits, but you could all it all comes from earth. A plant, potted plants. Aloe vera is very common. Nobody's going to think twice about it. They're just going to think you like plants. Always having some kind of plant would be a good representation of earth, especially, the soil. It all works together into representing earth. Things for air. Now, obviously, we all know that incense works, but depending on how cuckoo whoever it is you're hiding from, or whatever situation you don't want to be found in is, some people don't. I know some religious parents often say, will keep you away from things like incense, because they correspond that in witchcraft. I mean, they're not entirely stupid. So just a feather. A feather's good. If you have a painting of a bird, or a statue of a bird, or a painting of a feather, or just a painting that reminds you of air, anything that reminds you of air, all it has to mean anything to is you. It has to mean something to you. The color yellow. So if you just have, something that has shades of yellow in it, and you want to use that, then that works. I've done fire, air, earth. Water. Keep a cup of water. No one's going to think twice if you just have a glass of water sitting on your desk. Especially if your desk is by your bed or something. Lots of people have water by their bed. You could always like I said, with the air, a drawing or anything that reminds you of water, a drawing of a fish, a painting, anything like that. That's one way to have an altar. And you just set it up to however you like it, to make it look innocuous but to mean something to you. You can get easy little statuettes from like the dollar store that are of a woman, a generalized woman that doesn't really mean anything. And that's a good one for if you want to honor the goddess. Or again, just a painting of a woman would do. And I guess if you wanted to go the route of the paintings, you could just make sort of a collage on one wall of all the different representations on the wall, and that would work as an altar. A digital altar, if you can go into like documents or art on your computer and create a picture that has different representations and pictures of things that make you think of the various things you want to represent on the altar. And then you can put that on your desktop, especially for tech witches that like to use technology and more modern urban things in their witchcraft, then that would be good. All of those sorts of things. And like I said, you don't have to represent everything on your altar. If you just vibe well with fire, if fire is your element, you little pyro you, just have a random candle in your room and have that be what you go to for your holy time, whatever spiritual time you have. As long as you honor it, it doesn't matter what it is. And it could be anything. If you just honor water, maybe drinking water can be a spiritual act for you. Maybe every time you sip water, you can just sort of say a little bit of a mantra in your head to honor the spirit waters, or thank them when they provide you the sustenance that water provides. Other ways to do witchcraft in private, where people won't discover, is sigils. Now, I've not done a video on it, but I intend to, as part of my next couple of series. I'm going to be doing sigils in one of them and going through how to do it, but there's plenty of tutorials and blogs and everything else out there, and vlogs as well, that will show you in the meantime. And once I do make one, I'll link it below if this is like a year from now. But you might check the description if it's later, because I will probably have made one by then. But yeah, sigils, they're just, they're not something you have to keep a record of if you don't want to. It's something you can make within 30 minutes. You can burn all the evidence, or, shred it, whatever you want to do with it. Get rid of it. And then activate the sigil and burn that too, so there's no evidence. Any sort of written rune or symbol based magic, because you can write it and then burn it, or you can use lotion on your skin and draw the symbols. So in lotion you just sort of draw the little symbols, whatever that symbol might be, and it'll be invisible, basically like invisible ink, but lotion on your skin, and that will grant you the intention of the symbol. Which brings me, of course, to my next point, is your bath and hygiene products. Anything with herbal or floral scents, anything like that, it all has properties. So if you have, lavender lotion, that can be used with the properties of lavender. If you have eucalyptus or tea tree, I'll say this, if you have like tea tree hair products, then you can use the properties of tea tree when you use the hair products. Eucalyptus, rose, cherry blossom, anything like that. They all have properties, and those properties come with the lotions. You can use them with the lotions and the products. So no one's going to think twice if you have flowery products. So that's one thing you can do. Let me check my list real quick because I'm blanking really bad today. Let's see. You can use playing cards as tarot cards, and it's a different system. It's not exactly going to be exactly the same, but you can learn tarot with playing cards. It's a form of cartomancy. It's not strictly tarot, but it is a form of cartomancy that you can learn. You can use a needle or thread, or really anything that you can spin, sort of anything with one weight on one side that you can sort of make arc can be used as a pendulum. A ring on a string, anything like that you have, even just a needle and a thread, can be used as a pendulum. Let's see. Kitchen magic. If you ever cook, if you like cooking, all the different ingredients you use, everything you use to cook has intent, has properties, and so you can cook with intent and nobody will know. You're just cooking. As far as visually speaking, you're just cooking. That's all you're doing. So it's not something you can get caught with. Sweeping for cleansing. If you can't, in a situation where you can't burn sage, get yourself a broom and sweeping left to right. I believe it's left to right. And making sure everything is heading towards the door, and then say, internally say a chant. For example, my go-to house cleansing chant at the moment is, and I wrote it myself, so get ready for the brilliance. Negativity in my home no longer negativity in my home, no longer will you roam. I cast you out to sea, so you will cease to be. So, and if you don't like that one, or you don't have one you go to, you can come up with a new one, find one online. As long as it works for you, that's what matters. Alright. But yeah, sweeping left to right and then everything out the door is a good substitute for cleansing. It's a cleansing manner of cleansing. A locked journal, to where you can actually lock it, would be a good substitute for Book of Shadows. But if you're in a situation where you're not like with parents or anything, where they can get into your computer, you can keep Word documents for a Book of Shadow. So mini altars or travel altars, they have them in many different sizes. They have shoe boxes, they have Altoid tins, where you just miniature versions of everything. And those, you can look those up online. I will probably make one at some point on the channel, but it's not going to be right away. Let's see, I'm just going to check over my list one more time. Alright, so that's pretty much all I've got for you right now. Let's see, anything else that I can think of? Yes, if you have an oil diffuser, you can pull that off as just an air freshener. So like a essential oil diffuser, but it can be used for magic. If you drink teas, you can get teas that correspond with intent and drink them. For instance, cranberry orange tea. I got this couple days ago. It's really good. It's green tea, and it has various things in it. It has dried cranberry, chamomile, hibiscus, vanilla bean, orange peel, green tea. All those ingredients have properties that you can use. Chocolate has properties. It's also an aphrodisiac for all you lovebirds out there. Pumpkins, being as it's almost Samhain, pumpkins. Nobody thinks twice about you having pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns or anything else. Pumpkins are good for protection. The jack-o'-lantern part's from evil spirits, but I think that's just sort of evolved into protection in general. I'm trying to think, because I want y'all to be able to go forward and sort of practice in a way that y'all are comfortable with, but I want to provide as much information about it as possible. And I'm just trying to make sure because I always end these and I think of 10 more things that I should have said. So, let's see. I believe that's all. I said that again, but I thought if you are in a position where you are forced to go to church, I remember when I was in church, I did not feel like participating. In fact, most of the time I was asleep, let's be honest. But I was always annoyed by prayer. Because I don't believe what you want, but you want me to participate in this spiritual act that I get nothing from. It's not spiritual for me. It's just a waste of time. You can turn this to your advantage. When they say, bow your heads, let's pray, bow your head and pray, but don't pray to their God. Pray to your God. They don't have to know who you're praying to. Just pray to whoever you want. And that's a way where you can do what they want in a way that it's what you want. And you can get what you want out of it. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off. If y'all liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. And click that little ding-a-ling bell thingy mabobber next to the subscribe button if you want to see when I upload more videos. I upload every Sunday right now because it's my day off and I can go up to the Starbucks and I can sit there and do stuff. So, yeah. I have a whole bunch of witch crafts videos coming up. I have different mixtures and powders and oils that I want to teach all about. I have some jar spells and all sorts of fun stuff planned. You have no idea. When I set my mind to it, I can just come up with a plethora of things that I want to show y'all guys. I mean, it's like absurd. It keeps me up at night, the amount of ideas I'm cranking out. But it should prove to be interesting for y'all. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourselves and learned something.